Hello! My name is Michelle. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to tell you how I was able to travel to 50 countries while I was a student in college. So this is my first YouTube video. Welcome, thank you for being here. Basically, I was able to travel to 50 countries while I was a student by doing exchanges, getting student visas, and I did this all with little costs. So I was able to save on paying expensive rent in the US and having higher cost of living in the US, and use the money I saved to really travel and see the world. Here are some of the beautiful places that I was able to discover while I was a student in college. I want to show you how you can travel while being a full-time student. There really are so many opportunities out there. You just have to really keep your eyes and ears open. If you dream of traveling the world like me, but maybe you think it's impossible because of time or money, I really want you to rethink, because it is absolutely possible. If I can do it, I know that you can do it too. So my passion for traveling started from the first time I left the US at 15 years of age. I was lucky enough to have the amazing opportunity to travel with my aunt to Italy and Greece, and later to Peru, which is where my family's from. After seeing these beautiful countries and experiencing different cultures for the first time, I knew I wanted to go back. So I decided to graduate high school a year early, and I moved to Lima, Peru. At 17 years old, I was living a crazy life in a country where I didn't know the language or have any friends yet. But of course, I quickly made friends and had a pretty fun time learning Spanish. I ended up spending 7 months in Peru before coming home to start college. And I wanted to keep improving my Spanish, which was also just a great excuse to study abroad. So even before I started college, I knew I wanted to do an exchange. And really the thing I want all students to realize is that there is a difference between a study abroad program and an exchange program. If you want to do things affordably, you have to do an exchange, not a study abroad program. Basically, the benefits of exchanges are pretty much that you're only paying tuition. So you're paying the same tuition price that you would be paying regardless. So whatever your tuition is at your college, you'll pay the same, and you can even go to a more prestigious university abroad but pay the same tuition. So yes, the study abroad programs, again, they're different from exchange programs, and they often have fees, and they're just way more expensive than doing an exchange program. So by the spring of my sophomore year, I was jetting off to Pamplona, Spain for my first exchange with my student visa, and then the additional 90 days you get as a tourist. I was able to spend 8 months in Europe. Of course, I did a lot of traveling during that time. Actually, in reality, doing an exchange can be cheaper than living and studying in your home country. So regardless of where I was, I had to take out student loans anyways, right? So the thing is, in Europe, the cost of living, or my cost of living personally, was pretty much cut in half, so I could use what I saved to travel. And then I'd use resources like couchsurfing to stay with hosts for free when I travel. And over the summer, I lived with an Italian family rent-free because I was their au pair. And as an au pair, I also got a weekly allowance, and I had the weekends off, so I would use that allowance to travel over the weekends for food, but I also had whatever food I wanted at the house. So after this life-changing experience in Europe, I was just completely addicted to travel. Of course, I did have to go home eventually because my visa was expiring. So I spent a year back home, and always when I'd be home, I'd just work and hustle and save. Then after that, I was off again, always planning my next journey. So I did my internship in Tel Aviv, Israel. And by the time the summer ended, I just literally went straight from Israel to Hong Kong. So I had planned my second exchange. And I know you might think Hong Kong is super expensive, but actually I was just staying in a dorm on campus, and the government in Hong Kong subsidizes student rent, so I only paid $200 per month. And plus, Hong Kong is really the best hub in Asia to travel from, so it was super easy to find cheap flights all over Asia. So during that semester, I would plan out trips each month. So one month I did an 8-day trip to Malaysia. The next I did a 5-day trip in Taiwan, and then I spent 5 days in Seoul. And by the time the term ended, I spent another month backpacking through Thailand with my sister. And then I went to Vietnam on my own, and I did another workaway for 2 months. So I was living rent-free again for 2 months in Saigon. And basically that workaway, I was volunteering with people from all around the world, teaching English to adult Vietnamese English learners. And we all lived together in the same place, and food was included, so the students would cook for us and we would just spend time together. It was really honestly amazing. And after that, I just found the cheapest flight back home, which happened to be from the Philippines. So I kind of just had an excuse to go to the Philippines and spent 10 days there before flying back home, finally. So that was my senior year. I actually took 5 years to graduate, so I was trying to extend being a student as long as possible, basically, because finally I qualified for a Pell Grant, so I didn't actually have to pay tuition during my last and 5th year of college. So I can give you a bit more background. I did my major in business management, and then at my university they do offer courses that are online. So I basically planned out all of the courses I needed to graduate, and I left the last courses to be the online ones. So even when I was in Vietnam and the Philippines, I was still in school, but my classes were online. So finally, after all of that time from Israel to Asia, I was gone for 10 months, and I finally just went back home. I worked and saved again, but I still had one more semester to finish, which was online still. And during my time in Europe, I had just completely fallen in love with Portugal. I knew I wanted to experience living there. Of course, the days is limited to 90, so I basically just went to the Algarve, and I lived there for a month doing another workaway, which was super cool. So they had a car for the volunteers to use, and they had surfboards, so when we didn't have shifts, we would go in groups and just all go surfing together. So again, yeah, free rent, free food, super cool. And finally, I had to graduate, so I actually skipped my graduation ceremony, which would have been in May, but I left by mid-April, and I just wanted to go to the Balkans, really. That was a kind of bucket list trip I wanted to do. So I ended up spending 6 months just backpacking through the Balkans, but I wasn't traveling the whole time. I did end up staying in Belgrade for certain reasons. I stayed there a bit longer, and I did a month in Cyprus during that time also. Then this past year, I actually did my master's in Spain, which, by the way, only costs $1,000, and you get a year-long visa, at least, depending on how long your program is. So when I finished my master's, I still had time on my visa, so I did a summer trip, and I spent 3 weeks traveling through Germany, then 4 weeks in Poland, and another 3 weeks traveling through the Baltic countries, and I ended in Finland. I also couch surfed nearly that entire time. But yeah, couch surfing deserves its own video, so that will be a different video. I might as well update you with where I am now. So after my summer travels, I moved to Lisbon, and I lived there from September till this March 2022. And literally just 2 weeks ago, I relocated to Medellin, Colombia. So now I'm living here in Medellin. But of course, now I'm not a student anymore, so I'm just living the digital nomad lifestyle. But the point is that you can definitely travel while you're a student. So maybe you're wondering how I did all of this. Like you can probably see, so I use Couchsurfing, Au Pair World, and Workaway first of all, but also you can get scholarships to study abroad. So with these resources, yes, accommodation is free. Of course, that's not the purpose with Couchsurfing. Really, for me, Couchsurfing has given me the absolute most amazing travel experiences. Then besides that, just consider the cost of living. You always have to consider the cost of living. It's just so much cheaper in the places I live specifically. So in Portugal, in parts of Spain, I'm not going to say Barcelona and Madrid are cheap, but Andalusia is cheap. The Balkans is cheap. So with these in mind, yes, you can travel as a student. So this is really just an introduction. If you want more tips for how to travel as a broke college student, stick around for more videos and let me know in the comments what questions you have. I really want to help as many people as possible just to get out there and see the world. I truly believe traveling and experiencing other cultures brings people together and makes the world a better place. So you can tell me if you have any doubts, why do you think you can't do it? Tell me what's holding you back. If you do dream of traveling the world, I do want to help you, and I can give you all the advice and tips for how I traveled the world as a college student, and side hustles and ways to make money. So just remember, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, explore, dream, discover.